This is kind of our haul of family photos. This is me the last year of preschool being presented as a boy, and the first year of kindergarten when I'm finally able to look like a girl. I was never a boy, I always was a girl in my heart, and although I was presented as male to the public, inside I was feminine. It was okay to be that because that's just who I was, and I can't change that. I was born that way. I am Jazz. For as long as I can remember, my favorite color has been pink. My second favorite color is silver, and my third favorite color is green. My best friends are Samantha and Casey. We like high heels and princess gowns, or cartwheels and trampolines. But I'm not exactly like Samantha and Casey.
On the surface, Jazz Jennings seems like your typical teenager. But when she was just 5 years old, Jazz was one of the youngest people to ever be diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Now 14, Jazz has joined the growing number of transgender authors who are sharing their stories. I Am Jazz, released just last month, is one of the first transgender books created for children. This is a children's book about your story. Why did you want to write it?
I wanted to write this book so I could help other kids who are really struggling to find out who they are. It's not geared towards just LGBTQ kids, but kids of any difference, of any type.
I think some people, Jazz, probably have the point of view that it's impossible to determine your gender identity at such a young age. And they might say, this is just a phase. I'm curious what you would say to people who believe that.
It wasn't a phase. People say that age 2 is too young to identify what gender they are. And to me, that's incorrect because at 2 years old, you're wearing girl clothes or boy clothes and you're gravitating towards different dolls. And for me, it was just a little bit different. I went down a different path and it wasn't encouraged by my parents at all because this is not a choice. This is just the way I was born. This is who I am, and I didn't make myself this way.
When you look at these pictures, I imagine it probably stirs up some tough memories. You took Jazz to a psychiatrist when she was 3 years old. Why did you do that, and what happened there?
The doctor confirmed what I already knew at home. She said, definitely that your child's transgender. But at the time, it was just so heartbreaking because I was so scared for her future. What would become of my child? How would the world accept her? And those were tough times.
How were you able to accept that your little boy was in fact a little girl?
I really didn't care what she was. I just wanted her to be happy. This is what was going to make her happy. We were going to do it.
Although still just a theory, many researchers are trying to prove that gender identity is genetic. Some scientists suggest a hormonal imbalance in the womb can cause the wrong gender imprint, while other studies indicate that gender identity may be directly associated with brain anatomy. While science attempts to explain the biological reasons for gender dysphoria, some believe it is a social choice that should not be afforded special rights. I know at school they initially asked you to use the bathroom in the nurse's office instead of the regular bathroom. And how did they explain that to you, and how did it make you feel?
I just thought I should be able to use the bathroom I want and I could lock the door and it'll be okay. But people don't think like that. They think black and white. They don't see the rainbow in the world, and it's really just closed-minded.
I strongly believe there will be cases of rape.
We will not be told how, when, and where to raise our children.
It seems there's still a lot of resistance, though, in many communities. The Minnesota Child Protection League has questioned whether transgender kids should be able to use the bathroom or play on the sports team of their choice. What do you think of that?
It's all about education. If you go and you read up on it and learn and care enough to want to learn what this family's going through, and these kids have had a rough enough time.
I told Jazz that I thought she was so lucky to have parents like you and your husband, because as we know, a lot of parents just wouldn't accept this in a child. Have you heard about those cases?
all too well. I know so many families that are not accepting. They'll write to me and they'll say, I just can't do this. I can't give up the idea of my son or daughter. And it's really heartbreaking, and I try to tell them that this is a life and death situation. The suicide rates are astronomical here.
Do you hear from other transgender children who, because you've been so public, have reached out to you? And I'm curious what kinds of stories they tell you.
I get many emails from a lot of different kids. Some people even write that without me, that they would have killed themselves. One kid said that they were gonna walk into a street full of cars and they decided not to because they thought of Jazz. That shows me that I'm doing the right thing being here and that I have to continue moving forward.
It seems like this is a real moment where people are feeling much more comfortable talking about transgender children, transgender adults, whether it's the show, Transparent.
Are you saying that you're going to start dressing up like a lady all the time?
Honey, all my life, my whole life, I've been dressing up like a man. This is me.
Laverne Cox, of course.
I need some of these. I made my own couture. Thomas here doing Carrie's size 13.
Duct tape?
Metallics are very in this season.
As you see this unfold, what do you think of it, Jazz?
Although I haven't been around for a while, I'm still pretty young, I know that there's been major progression since the time I was born. And to see the issue of being transgender finally come to the limelight, it's just amazing.
You recently were named one of Time Magazine's 25 most influential teens of 2014. What was that like for you?
That was really neat, because to see that showed me that I'm being listed with all these amazing people. Malala, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, I was like, yay! Like, normally I don't do that.
There have been a lot of people supporting Jazz. People like Jennifer Lawrence and Bill Clinton. They were both anxious to meet her.
Yeah, it's surreal. We think of ourselves as just an ordinary family, and every now and then we're in extraordinary situations where these things will happen, and I'm so proud of her. I have no words. There's no word to describe the pride.
I think she's pretty proud of you.
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh, that's true. She is 14.
Yes, exactly.